So this week we're continuing the idea of image fidelity and deception by data, how layout informs design, and what are some of the trends in terms of how we put together data to display a particular story or convey a particular message. When we don't have a zero starting point, it can change the message. So for example, in my master's defense, I actually had this question fielded to me. What happens when one of your axes doesn't start at zero? In fact, what happens when neither axis starts at zero? What does that do to the perception of the chart? So if you take a look at the examples on screen, you can kind of see a little bit of that. The rate on the left-hand side of the percent of unemployment, we're looking at the line graph on the right, the rate starts at 5.5. So when you see a dip around June of 1978, it looks like that's really low on the graph. But what if we added a zero to that left axis? Wouldn't that move the line up to give us a more complete picture of what does 5.5 mean? Think about it. So that's kind of where we're headed. And when you look at infographics especially, you see that this deception is very easy to commit, both purposefully, intentionally, and unintentionally. That's where we have to be careful as designers as we look at image fidelity and deception by data, because we don't want to mislead the public. Or do you? I suppose that depends entirely on your motives. So keep that in mind as you're looking at this week's resources and as you look at this week's discussion in deconstructing an infographic. Pay attention to how the information is conveyed and if proportions that are displayed graphically are true or not. Use the on-screen navigation to access another section of this week's overview.
Cold paints the sky just after sunrise.